going to sound really contrived, but see when you're in a room with people who care about the same thing as you and are doing the same thing as you and are working the same way as you, that I love that. I love it when anybody cares about what they're doing.
Right, Joanna, thank you so much for agreeing to take part in this today. You're like, well, actually, I kind of got told to do it, but I know that speaking with Curtis and the rest of the team, it's been really lovely today to get to know each of the key players in the team. You all obviously have a very important role to play, and we thought it would be great to get to know you. First of all, if it's okay, could you give me an idea of how you got into the role that you're in today and a bit about what the day in the life is like for Joanna?
A lot of my progression just happened. It just started, there was no target, no plan, no that's where I want to go next. It literally went, here's an opening. Are you interested? Would you be interested? And that's how everything went on. So I started off, I came here as an operator first. I can't remember the year, I think it was 2007, so it's come up 18 years. And then I was an operator for 2 years, and then we started doing lone worker piece. And then I kind of fell, and our lone workers were all ex-police. So they were all people who were used to hearing, because you're an audible witness to things, and they were used to all that type of thing. So I got trained through the ex-police officers who were working the desk, and then I started to cover that. And then through that, I ended up looking after the estate. And then I did that for a few years and then progressed through involvement in different things because I can't not be doing something, so I would always find something to do. And if anybody said, can anybody, I'd be like, I'll do it. You know what I mean? I would take on stuff, and then from there I was told, right, there's a customer support manager role. But I was pregnant. I just found out I was pregnant. So I was like, okay, yeah. And then I went away, and then I had Autumn, and then I came back, and I was like, I don't want to be managing people.
How long were you out for?
A year.
Right.
I went out, and I just took the whole time out with her. And I was going, am I going to come back? Do I want to come back? Because I had Autumn when I was 39.
Right.
And then I was like, do I want to go back? Maybe I don't. Maybe I want to just stay at home. And I really, really thought about it. Then I was climbing the walls at home, and I was like, no, I have to get back into work. So gradually came back in again. And then I've just been working with Jackie, working as part of the team. But I've done a lot of, onboarding of clients. I've done a lot of everything. Mm-hmm. And then I was trained with Paul and learned a lot about the actual system from him. Mm-hmm. And because I was learning from him and knew, then I don't know, I sort of, if anyone had a question, then I could answer it, because I was like, yeah, this is how it works, or this is how I'll fix it. Or if a customer says, I don't want you to do that, I want you to do that and that and that. And then I would look at the system and go, well, this is how we tell the system to do that. So we're not relying on notes, and we're not relying on people going, oh, by the way, do this when you're answering that alarm, do it this way. So we told the system, only show them what they need to see and the order they need to see it. And then I always say, when anyone said, what do you do? I would always say, whatever Jackie asks me to do, whatever needs done. And when the opportunity for the CNI site that we look after came on, because I've done processes before and alarm actions and things like that, I went on and was looking at it with her, and I was like, yeah, and then just started attending the meetings, speaking to the customer, learning what they wanted, and then getting all the reading material, taking it away, and then coming back with, you have your questions, and then you went away and then had intelligent questions the next time around, because you had more of an idea of what was wanted. So then I drew up the processes with them to bring them on board, and I was very much involved with the whole project. And we did have someone who was an account manager who came in, but then the account manager we had left. So I kind of knew it all, so I knew what was needed and what was required. So then I was like, yeah, there's an opening, why not? And that's how I got to here. It was all
evolved and led into the next thing.
Yeah.
It seems to be quite a common thread I've noticed in these environments across other businesses as well. Being an operator, being on the front line and experiencing that, and then branching into a specialist area.
Nobody knows better than the guys on the floor what's going on. Nobody knows better than them. I mean, I brought a lot of my operator, and when I moved more behind the scenes rather than the front line, and I brought a lot of that with me. And then with that came questions. Well, why are we having to do it like this? Why can we not do it like this? Or if you do that, you know this is going to happen. And then that, you know, they know everything that's going on. They know about the customers. They know, and like we'll always say, tell us everything you need to know. Now at the minute, every morning, the first thing I do is go out and speak to them. Before I don't switch on, well, I might switch on my laptop, but I'm just out to the floor. What's happening? What happened last night? What's happening today? What's going on? And constantly checking in with them. And then now and then, if there's things happening, I'll bring them in and involve them and go, I'm having this meeting. I kind of want you in on it because I want you to hear what's happened out of what, you know, went before, you know, things like that. And that involves them as well. But they know everything. They know everything that's going on, and you ignore them at your peril, really. Because that's where I learned everything.
So specialising in the lone worker piece, what would you say is key about that role, different to the other roles that really stands out on a day-to-day for you? Like, is there?
Well, if you have an alarm on the screen and you have 3 people to call, then that's fine. The alarm comes on, you call your 3 people, everybody happy, gone. When you're doing the lone worker, you really have to take your time. You really have to. It's not an alarm that's going to come off the screen. It's not, you know what I mean? You're not thinking this is going to be a false alarm. You have to take your time. You have to listen, and then you have to listen to where they tell you who they are, where they are, and what they're doing, and then listen to what's going on. And you really have to take that time and be patient with it. You can't. It's not one of those done. Yeah, and there's someone at the end, and you have to be patient and you have to listen to what they're doing. So it was different. I remember when I moved on to it, I was like, what am I going to hear here? It's not, there's never anything too traumatic or anything like that. But you just took your time with it and spent the time and understanding that, yes, they are prone to false alarms. They really are, depending on the unit that they have. And, you know, if they take it off and they throw it in the seat, then that's triggered an alarm. You're like, oh, I just put it down the seat beside me. It's like, no, you didn't. You threw it in the seat beside you. And it took force to do that, to get it through. But there's people, and you really have to be mindful of that all the time. And with the life alarms, or with the ordinary home alarms, house alarms, building alarms, you're not always going to know what's happened. But you are going to know what's happened. You know, if something happens to somebody and you've heard it and you're reporting it, you're going to know what's happened. And you have to think about the guys that are doing that as well, you know, and make sure that if someone has heard something, when I looked after it, if there had been a genuine incident, a genuine event, then it was like, is everything okay with you? Because you have to remember that someone's sat and listened to that as well, and it can be rough, you know. It can be a lot of just verbal, but sometimes it can be rough. So you have to be mindful of the operators who have had to listen to that as well.
So what would typically happen here then to help with that general well-being? Is there part of the training perhaps, or like how do people typically know that they can share how they're feeling about that kind of thing?
With all the best intentions, you can say to people, you know, you might hear this, you might hear it. Sometimes you can let them hear one and go, here's an example. Here's an example of something that has happened that we've dealt with. But you're never going to be prepared for how anybody responds to anything. You just have to wait and see how it affects them. Sometimes somebody else say, oh, I'm grand, and then they go, do you know what, I'm not coming on tomorrow. You just have to wait for them and then go, right, what do you need? Do you need tomorrow off? Do you need to go away? Do you need to sit out for a minute? And then just ask them, because there are things we have here. There's different I can't remember the name, there's stuff on the board out in the kitchen as well, you know, for help and support that's internal to the job that we have. But sometimes it's just going, sitting down and are you all right, and checking on. But you just make sure that you do that and just don't assume that they're going to be all right. Just go, are you all right? And just check with them, and then just again, are you all right? Just to make sure. But you just have to wait. Sometimes they'll tell you, sometimes they'll take a day or two.
And I can see there's a consistent thread with all of you as, you know, management team as well, that like you said right earlier, you know, the first thing you do is go in and check in on the team so they know that they can talk to you and they can come to you and share that. Because you're right, I mean, the back to the serious element of what you all do here, there isn't really a textbook for every scenario.
No, because there's guys down here who will, you know who to ask. So if I went over and I go, you all right? And they'll go to me, I'm grand. And then you go, is he all right? Someone on their team, or someone that they're close to within their team, or their team leader, or someone they're going to talk to, or in other teams. And if you know who to check with, then you just go to him, just let me know. And it's not slopey shouldering it, it's getting the answer. Because you might not get it, but they will. And just say, go on over and give him a wee nod and make sure he's all right. So we do that on here, you know. That's
great. So, switching gears a little now, who's Joanna? Tell us about you.
She's here too long, is what she is. Joanna's part of the furniture. I don't know, I just, I'm a mother, as I said. I have an 11-year-old, and she's very opinionated and very lippy, and my husband's is just very like me. And for me, sometimes if I'm walking through the floor, and it has been happening, I went, what's happened? And nothing has happened. I'm just thinking about what's the next thing I'm going to do. So sometimes I'll look like there's a tornado coming through the room, but I'm not, and everything's fine. But I don't know, it's a hard one to answer, because as Joanna at work is someone who just enjoys coming on here and enjoys what she does. I do, and enjoy looking after what I'm doing now. I'm always going to be looking for something else to do. I'm always going to be thinking about what else can be done. And one of my favourite things in here is, it's going to sound really contrived, but see when you're in a room with people who care about the same thing as you, and are doing the same thing as you, and are working the same way as you, I love that. I love it when anybody cares about what they're doing, especially on here. If there's an operator and they're giving you feedback that they care, and then you're going, and that I love being around. I love being around when people are talking about plans, and when we brought this project on, the people that were on there's a guy, Steve Frost, he's the head of CNI, and seeing how he prepared for bringing on this project, and I'm like, this looks good. And I'm a pack rat for anything. If you send me a slideshow, if you send me an article, I've stuff from 2010, which would be like a spreadsheet that somebody sent me, and I'll be like, if anything's coming, I have something that'll do that. I have a template for that. I can work from it. I keep everything. But I love that arena where you can use these things and you can work with people and talk to people that are all talking about the same thing as you and caring about the same thing as you. And I'm also would be a real sponge with people. So when you've someone who's been here for years and working here for years, and really know, like, that's someone who I would kind of gravitate to, because you just sit and listen to them and you just sponge off them as well. And that's kind of me.
And how does that apply though at home? Would you be the same? Do you typically have lots of people over, or are you an organiser at home, or would you take walks or holidays? Like, what's the fun stuff?
I go out I walk the dog every night. I do a lot of stuff with Autumn. At the minute I'm learning how to make lace with bobbins.
How to make lace?
Yeah. Wow. Do you know I don't know if you've ever seen, there's wee bobbins, they're like wee sticks, and you just sort of plait them like this over and back, and then you make lace, handmade lace. So that's what I'm learning now at the minute. Because I learned how to crochet, I learned how to knit, and learned very quickly I'm not good at it. And then when my mommy says I can't keep the tension, I get it really tight. So something that should be this size ends up this size for me because I'm too tight. But I learned how to crochet, and then I learned how to spin wool as well. So I can't sit still. But in the house, not very organised at all. I have a very good, I can present that I'm very, very organised, but it's kind of very much, it's all going on and it's all over the place, but for some reason it sort of works and it gets channeled under the right way. But no, other than just spending time with Autumn and making stuff and trying to make stuff and walking the dog.
Making lace, that I've never heard of, like, wouldn't have even thought about that.
There's a festivals down near us called Spinning Yarns, and it's everything craft. So it's anything at all, and it's lace making, knitting, and they sell wool, and then they sell materials, and they have alpacas and llamas running about for the wool that they get from them as well. So, and it was there, and I seen the woman, she was doing it, and I was like, I want to do that. I've seen it years ago. I remember seeing it on, you know, BBC, you'll not remember, BBC used to put these weird programs on where they used to show different wee things of people doing stuff, and one of them was lace making. And I remember seeing it, and it was the clacking of the sticks and that sound, and I was like, I want to learn how to do that. So I went away, and now that's what I'm doing. I was learning how to make lace. I've managed 2 bookmarks so far, but I've only just started in September. But you very quickly get, I suppose that's the good thing too of it, when it's probably why knitting didn't work with me, because you do pieces and then you have to put it together. But if you crochet, your stuff has been made straight away, and with the lace, you're straight away seeing that you're making something. I'll show you it when you're free. I'll show you something that I made. A wee bookmark.
No, I'd love that. And actually, we will edit in some pictures while you're talking as well. Yeah, so we can share that.
I need to make sure I tuck in the loose threads.
Oh yeah, give us a good example. Yeah, 100%.
To make it look good.
But yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome.